the envelope of the technology of the time, and payload of a B-50 to but the speed of a B-58 Hustler. Two paths were pursued simultaneously. The other would press the boundaries of capabilities. The plane would require a combat radius of 4,000. It could have a subsonic cruising speed, but need to be able to achieve supersonic speed and exit to the target called the dash. Original designs used fuel tanks and wing sections that would be jettisoned. The designs were deemed too complicated, and new designs were on the horizon. New research focused on a narrow delta wing. At supersonic speeds, such wings burned more fuel. That is, while supersonic, but were 4 times as fast from a fuel-to-mile ratio. The plan was subsonic cruising speed. The new designs would use supersonic speeds. The advanced design ideas. For example, they suggested using boron-enriched, the so-called zip fuel. They also leveraged a new idea on re-entering nuclear warheads at supersonic speeds. The plane could get additional lift, the aircraft to ride these waves. The concept is much the same as a boat, while the concept itself is basic. The concept still tested the outer limits of technology. Among them, cooling, caused by friction on leading edges. But the new requirements call for a plane 3 to 3.2, a range of up to 10,500 miles, tail with a wingspan of 105 feet. It is still to date the only potential production to effectively leverage compression lift before the prototype was even built. As impressive as it is, and to the Museum of the United States Air Force, the XB-70 Valkyrie. As bombers develop, the idea had been to make them fly. Artillery and fighter aircraft. The XB-70 represents the high end of that philosophy. We're already demonstrating the weakness. Missiles could hit planes at any altitude, at any speed. Ground-hugging bombers. Then supersonic high-altitude bombers. And as a delivery system for nuclear bombs, were more effective. Fleets of supersonic high-altitude bombers. The B-70 program was cancelled in 1959. In the presidential campaign of 1960. We're trying to portray each other as soft on defense. Was convinced that the plane, in 1962, would end up with a production that will be used to test various concepts. The first of the XB-70 prototypes. As impressive as the aerodynamic design was, the design was vast and complex. The plane, operated by stick and rudder controls, in reality required digital computer assistance. The planes are flying Mach 3. The extent of the problems was demonstrated starkly. On April 30, 1966, the plane's landing gear retraction system shorted out as a result of this malfunction into the partially retracted gear well door. The crew test pilots L. White and Joe Cotton. But the hydraulic system failed. and not locked into position. The problem was significant. Cotton and white. Normally, or the plane could not land. White and Cotton would have to bail out. The crew first tried touch-and-go landings, hoping to force the front gear into locked position. It looked like the plane was going to be lost. To burn the fuel in the tanks, they decided. The landing gear retraction system. The gear locked down but caught in Whitehead to land. And no hydraulic pressure. On landing, the gear exploded into flames. Were able to extinguish them. The $750 million prototype was saved by a 2-cent paperclip. The incident was not isolated. Recall the flight when an 18-inch by 10-foot. At Mach 3, he said, "You woke up with an elephant in bed with you." The issues would turn to tragedy on June 8, 1966. Again. Number 60-02. The same one that had the problem with the landing gear. This time with Major Carl Cross. Joe Cotton was there as well. Talon jet trainer trailing the flight. The XB-70 is powered by 6 General Electric Y. Grouped in the single large duct under the aircraft. That day GE. Photo opportunity with a VIPS. Flying information with a number of other planes. Picturesque conditions with high. Over Southern California's Edwards Air Force Base. The best option that would allow a good view. The Valkyrie was supplying formation. F for B Phantom, a Lockheed F-104. All planes with GE engines. Cross and Wyatt had done some calibration runs earlier, and the photo run was added to the agenda. The F-10, and being flown by legendary test pilot, with the time held the world's records for flight. Walker had been awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. Flying P-38 Lightnings during the Second World War. With the Edwards Flight Research Facility, which would become the first plane to break. He was chief test pilot for the Douglas X-3 Stiletto, the record-breaking North American X-15, and so was highly skilled of the maneuvering. Although, as it did not contribute to the research, the XB-70 would be flying at 25,000 feet. 2 trailing up its wings on either side. Next to the wing. It was not an easy position for a short-nosed fighter. Not slow speed, photo opportunities. Trying to maintain a visually appealing distance. The wing of the Delta Wing Valkyrie was behind it. It would have been difficult to assess, simply by watching the Valkyrie's fuselage to his left. For nearly 40 minutes while the GE marketing people. Then it came time to break formation. He clipped the wing of the Valkyrie. The XB said,